The Mason County Commission voted to go forward, applying to create a TIF district to begin further developing what was the unincorporated area of Henderson. But this process is not over yet. Shelby Burrow was at that meeting, and she joins us live in the studio with that story. And Shelby, how will this process look?
Well, Gina, commissioners say they have to wait for the state's development authority to either approve or deny it, and for legislation to be passed for Mason County to be included in a TIF district. This meeting, however, came with opposition from people who live in the area.
Certainly included a large amount of our property, and I think other people's property. So I think you're jumping the gun tonight by approving this.
Approximately 140 acres of land in Henderson could be seeing some changes. All homes and businesses within the planned area would be given the chance to get bought out to make way for a TIF district.
I certainly have some problems with it at this point. Until those questions I have can be answered, I'm not on board.
A tax increment financing district is an area where local governments would utilize future property tax increases to fund different public improvements. Now, these increases would come from the new development within the area.
We need places to eat. We need places to stay. We also need to treat the residents of Henderson with respect, to not make them feel like that we're just running them out.
This TIF district would not impact taxpayers, and attorneys say nobody will be forcibly moved out if they refuse to sell. And people who live in Henderson spoke out at Thursday's meeting, sharing their concerns, saying, "I know we have to go, but when?"
My mom calls me every day, worried here, worried sick. Well, something, I don't even want to hear on behalf of these people. I'm here on behalf of all these people. I was raised in this town, and I just want to be treated fairly. I don't think anybody wants to stand in the way of progress for our county, but just do it fair.
People are free to negotiate with the payout of their homes if they decide to sell, but some say the offers wouldn't be nearly enough.
So right now, we're not going to sell because my mother cannot relocate for $48,000. Cheapest I can move my mother for is $100,000, and that's putting her in a 14 by 70 single wide, taking her out of a 7-bedroom house that she does not have any payments on, that's on a budget. You know all this. I'm not telling you nothing that we don't already know.
Commissioners say this project has been in the works for nearly 2 years, following denied legislation last year.
It is complicated, but if you look at it in terms of two different things, property taxes, those baselines stay the same.
People who live in Henderson say they just want to be treated fairly and to have full transparency throughout this process.
Then I'm opposed to that right now. Okay? Until there has been some other discussions. My sister and I own a large amount of property over there. No one has ever discussed this with us at all. We recently saw the boundary. You've included us, and yet we have never given approval.
Public meetings will be held to further discuss this development, and if passed, there is no timeline set out for these changes. Live in the studio, Shelby Burrow, Eyewitness News.